All right, we're picking up on the one and only Bob. We are starting right now on page 95. The chapter is titled Kimyu. There's a gray wolf at the park who makes me a little jittery, as in I sometimes worry he might like to eat me. His name is Kimyu, and we struck up a conversation when a mutual acquaintance of ours, a mockingbird called Mitch, introduced us one day. Like Nutwit, Mitch likes to taunt me because I'm domesticated. He calls himself domesticated, but other people would call him a pet. So he doesn't like the word pet. He prefers the word domesticated. Gives me a lot of grief about how free he is, soaring stringless over the whole town. I'm not the only one who's pampered, I said one day. I mean, look at Kimyu. He's not exactly running wild. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, I regretted them. And when I looked at Kimyu's, I could kill you with one quick bite expression, I really regretted them. In any case, I said, moving the subject along, I've lived wild. It ain't a picnic for a dog. What was it like, Kimyu asked. He moved closer to the edge of his domain. He had a strange smell, intense and scary, and a little bit intoxicating. Well, I was just a pup, I said, abandoned by the side of the highway. Kimyu was listening intently. Must have been rough. All I could think of was food, water. I didn't like the catch in my voice. Al got me. Those guys are fierce, Kimyu said. Can't hear them coming. I know, right? I relaxed a little. I hate owls, said Mitch. Hate them with a passion. They eat birds, you know. So do wolves, said Kimyu, giving Mitch a meaningful look. So were you were wild once? I asked Kimyu. Never. Born and raised in captivity. Suzu over there? She was. She's told us stories that would curl your fur. Honestly, it's nice to have a roof over my head. It's tough out there, man. Really tough. I suppose, said Kimyu. That's him all scared of Kimyu. I looked at him and for the first time wondered if I really did have any wolf in me. He was a majestic animal with teeth that could shred a tree trunk. I am also majestic, but more portable, with teeth that could mangle a pencil with enough time and effort. Hey, Bob, Mitch said, do dogs howl the way wolves do? Of course we do. So let's hear something, a duet maybe. He fluttered his wings, revealing startling patches of white. Do you know Talk to the Animals? They play that on the carousel. Go away, Mitch, said Kimyu with just the right amount of menace in his voice. Come on, just a little howling. Pretend there's a moon. Pretend you're free. Pretend. Kimyu growled, and so did I. His was pretty impressive. Guttural deep, like way in his gut. It spoke of death and dismemberment and all kinds of unpleasant bird nightmares. I growled too. It spoke of me being mildly peeved. Still, Mitch got the message. He disappeared, a blur of wings. Actually, I've never howled at the moon, I admit. Me either, said Kimyu. I'd feel kind of silly doing it here. Enrichment. We're almost to my favorite spot in the park. The great thing for me is that one corner of Gorilla World juts up against Elephant Odyssey, the area where Ruby lives. A low stone wall separates the two spaces, and there's a moat on the elephant side. The sections connect like two slices of pie, and my secret spot is right at the center, where I can hang out with my crew. Ivan and Ruby both have access to indoor habitats, which is great when the weather isn't cooperating. The indoor space for gorillas ain't bad. I call it the Gorillaville. It has tons of ropes and hammocks and branches to climb. Humans watch through a thick wall of glass while the young gorillas run around like kids at recess. But whenever Julie and I visit, we can almost always find Ivan and Ruby outside. We trudge up a little rise, though it isn't much of a hill. We live in a pretty flat part of the world. From there, I can see just about everything. The park, the parking lot, the creek, far beyond that. Every now and then, I can even catch a glimpse of the ocean. My secret plan is a little hard to get to, right near the keeper's shed, nicely hidden by trees and bushes. Under a big magnolia tree, there's a bench shaped like a gorilla holding out his arms. Julia likes to sit there and draw. Sometimes she does her homework, which smells like frustration with a hint of eraser. Whenever I visit, Julia props me up on the stone wall that separates Ruby's world from Ivan's. Visitors can't see me, and the keepers pretend not to see me. If they caught any other dog there, he'd be out in a heartbeat. But Ivan and Ruby and I have history. I make them happy. I'm what you might call enrichment. At the park, they try to keep the animals engaged with surprises and challenges and changes to their environment. That's what enrichment is all about. The gorillas get watermelons to demolish and boxes to hide in and markers for drawing. The elephants get sprinklers and flavored water and elephant-sized rubber balls. Not exactly like a day in the real jungle, of course, but the keepers try as hard as they can to make life interesting. For Ivan and Ruby, I'm the ultimate enrichment. I'm their best pal. Walls and bad guys. Julia takes me out of her backpack and I settle onto the wide stone wall. It's my fave place on the planet because it means I can see Ivan and Ruby, but I also kind of hate it. Walls will do that to you. Ivan, being Ivan, is a mellow kind of guy, takes the good with the bad, only gets angry when he really needs to. When I complain about the walls of the park, he says walls keep the animals in, but they also keep the bad guys out. Of course, gorillas don't have a whole lot of bad guys to deal with, elephants either, so humans step in to fill the void. Dogs, sometimes it feels like we have enemies galore. Everyone wants a piece of us. Humans treat us badly. Cars really have it in for us. We even get eaten by coyotes, which is kind of like having your cousin invite you over for dinner, then inform you you're the main course. Although I'd probably just be an appetizer. Remember, Bob is small. Anyways, after those 27 years stuck in the mall, Ivan is one of those glass half full kind of guys when it comes to the walls surrounding him. Glad to be with others of his own kind, cared for by smart and loving humans. I'm more of a water bowl of power, half empty kind of guy. Every time I leave Ivan and Ruby, I am painfully aware that I can leave. Ivan's address is Gorilla World. Ruby's is Elephant Odyssey. And me, I guess my address is the same as Julie and George and Sarah's, 1249 Heinemann Avenue. I mean, of course it is. I've been living there a whole year now. It is. And yet sometimes I still wake up at night and think, gotta find shelter, gotta find safety, gotta find somewhere to belong. Guess I don't want to get too comfortable. Gift. Once I'm in my spot, I don't have to do a thing because Ivan and Ruby always know when I'm there. Gorillas and elephants have great schnozzles too, meaning noses. Also, I pride myself on staying extra fragrant, meaning smelling good. It's a gift. Ivan gets to me first. Bob! He knuckle walks up the hill, knuckle runs actually, and he looks as good to see me as I am to see him. It seems like I've known Ivan forever, and yet every single time I see him, I feel kind of awed. He's so powerful, so huge, like his magnificent silver mountain that just happens to be my best buddy. Hi, Ivan, Julia calls, waving. He cocks his head and makes a soft belch. Oh my gosh, that's a burp. Which is gorilla for I'm happy. Maya calls out to Julia from the door to the gorilla's indoor space. Maya is a zoologist, which is a hoity-toity way of saying she has a thing for animals. It was Maya and a lot of other good folks or people who helped get Ivan and the rest of the mall animals moved to better spaces. Julia unhooks my string and gives me a stern look. No funny business, you, she says, and then she kisses me on the head and stay out of sight. Ivan sidles up as close to the stone wall as he can get. I was worried you wouldn't come back, he says, weather and all. Another hurricane, I say. It's freaking everybody out. Above me, magnolia branches sway. That's a type of tree. Leaves rustle and shiver. Even the trees seem unsure and uneasy. What's new? Ivan asks. He lies back on the grass and wriggles contentedly, scratching an itch, no doubt. Not much. Had a weird dream last night. I pause. You were in it, and me and Ruby and Stella too. Ivan gazes at the darkening sky. Stella, he says. Now there was a great friend. Classiest elephant you'll ever hope to meet. The best, I agree. I miss the old gal. We fall silent. All good with you? I ask after a moment. No point in dwelling on sad stuff or bad dreams. Kenyani's getting on my nerves a bit. Ivan, do this. Ivan, do that. But she means well. Kenyani is Ivan's lady friend. Girlfriend? I've never been sure why they call it what they call it in Gorilla. Kenyani doesn't really approve of me. So Kenyani doesn't really care for Bob. She thinks I'm a bad influence on Ivan. I like to think she's right. Ivan is 400 pounds of pure power, but Kenyani is 400 times scarier. Trust me. I've seen her in a bad mood. I've also seen her teeth make mine look like toothpicks. Ivan and Kenyani don't have kids, but there are a bunch of baby and juvenile gorillas hanging around. They call him Uncle Ivan, and he puts up with their antics. Ivan's always been a good sport. If I had a gorilla toddler hanging off me, I'd be tempted to use my toothpick teeth. We're going to stop right there. Tomorrow, we're going to pick up on marriage.